Officials from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have a stark warning about the future of the coronavirus. They say the virus may return in the fall and are ramping up the rush for treatments before next winter. Laura Podesta has more on which therapies are showing promise and which are falling short.
This winter, the coronavirus could come back with a vengeance. That's the warning from CDC head Robert Redfield, who told the Washington Post on Tuesday fighting the virus could become more difficult in the winter when it dovetails with the beginning of flu season. The World Health Organization echoed that sentiment this week, suggesting politics are also getting in the way.
Trust us, the worst is yet ahead of us.
Scientists worldwide hope by the fall there will be a reliable therapy. There'd been early hope that the drug hydroxychloroquine would be that medicine. President Trump even touted its effects.
I think it could be a game changer.
However, a new study of U.S. veterans infected with COVID-19 found those given hydroxychloroquine died at a higher rate. About 28% who were given the drug plus usual care died, versus 11% of those getting just that routine care. The study, though, was not a rigorous experiment and has not yet been reviewed by other scientists. One of the more promising interventions is using blood plasma from recovered patients and pumping it into those who are critically ill. It's showing signs of success at the University of Massachusetts Memorial Medical Center.
Such an exciting prospect now to have weapons to fight this with, and particularly ones that can work this dramatically and this quickly.
Doctors and researchers are now urging those who've survived coronavirus to consider signing up to donate plasma to help fight the pandemic. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
For more on COVID-19 prevention and testing, I want to bring in David Dodd. He's the chairman and CEO of the biotech company GeoVax. David, thanks very much for being with us. This week, the FDA authorized the first at-home coronavirus test, and I want to play some of what FDA Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn said about the kit.
This new test is an at-home collection test for a diagnostic. That is a test that would diagnose the presence of the COVID-19 virus. And this is a test where it's going to focus, LabCorp, this company that's developed this, is going to focus first on frontline healthcare workers and first responders. Those with symptoms can go online and fill out a questionnaire. The questionnaire will be reviewed by a healthcare professional, a licensed physician, and if appropriate and consistent with the CDC guidelines, a package will be sent overnight with a swab and a tube.
Well, David, how significant could this at-home test be?
I think it can be highly significant. I think it demonstrates tremendous progress, cooperation, and commitment by the FDA to move forward with this. Now, this is a collection kit. It is not an actual test that one will receive the results at home. But for those who are having certain symptoms, as Dr. Hahn said, they can go online, they can fill out the questionnaire. The challenge will be how well they are at taking and obtaining a sample and all, because they'll then send it to the lab and all. But in many instances, it'll provide information that we otherwise would not have. They'll be helpful to the patient. Unfortunately, there'll be many instances also in which the sample collection is done poorly or inadequately, and that information will be useless. No. So that's the challenge we'll have. But I think what's most important is that this demonstrates that the FDA is willing to think outside of the box during this emergency declaration period and all, and work with private industry and others to make sure we've got better tools available to understand the progress of this disease.
Give us some context here, David. So these home tests have not yet been approved by the FDA. They've only been authorized, from what I understand. What exactly does that mean?
Well, there is a difference. An approval requires a rigorous process in which someone would develop a particular kit, go through various clinical trials, have their manufacturing reviewed, all the elements of it, and then submit for licensure to the FDA. However, when there's an emergency or a medical crisis, the FDA has the ability to partner with private industry and others and declare under the declaration of the public health emergency to be able to authorize use of particular, be it tests, it could be therapeutics, it could even be vaccine pathways. That's what we're seeing in the development of vaccines right now. So we do have, it's a legal definition, but it allows a more expedited process to deliver something for use towards public health improvement and protection.
Speaking of vaccines, David, your company, GeoVax, is working on a vaccine for COVID-19. What can you tell us about your work and where you are in that process?
Yes, GeoVax, we're a small company, first of all, so we're highly dependent and appreciative of the funding and support we've received over the years from the federal government and all, but that's probably our largest lever of rate limiting relates to our capital structure and all. However, we've developed already 3 vaccines for COVID-19. They're ready to move into testing now. They'll be shipped to animal testing facilities within the next week to week and a half. And then going beyond that, we hope to have received the support so that we can advance further and do some steps in parallel so that perhaps by year end, at the latest, by early next year, that we have products going into human testing and all. We put together an accelerated pathway. We've submitted that to Health and Human Services, or BARDA, a BARDA, a Biomedical Research Development Authority and all. And like many other such companies and all, we're awaiting to be able to move forward. But we do have 3 vaccines ready to go forward and to move into active testing very quickly.
So, there is so much interest in this time frame. Realistically, I mean, you just outlined what you're looking at as a company, but how long does it typically take to create a vaccine that is ready to go and be distributed for widespread use without compromising its safety and effectiveness?
You make an excellent point about but not compromising the safety, especially and all. Typically, a vaccine, if you were to stop someone in the industry on the street and say, how long does it take? They'll say 10 to 15 years. And that's a pretty good estimate. No, the fastest we've ever
10
seen.
10 to 15 years. Wow.
Years we're talking about. The fastest we've seen a vaccine that has gone and been developed and approved by the FDA was the recent approval of Merck's Ebola vaccine. That took 5 years, from 2014 to December of 2019. And that's the fastest we've ever seen. We and other companies have laid out plans, however, where we have changed the pathway. Instead of doing the sequential development pathways that we used to do and have been doing, we're looking at doing parallel steps with certain entities. We also are looking at certain risk versus balanced risk type assessments. We can't wait and go through the full animal challenge, humanized animal models that we've traditionally done because those models don't currently exist. So we're looking at doing those in a bridge manner that we closely monitor and move those forward now. So we're balancing the risk, we're moving forward, and I think most companies have laid out similar plans to try and have something available within 18 to 24 months. That would break all previous records and all. And then at the same time to put into place certain manufacturing processes and plans and operations so that we're not waiting on anything. And at the time we're ready to move forward and know we've got a product that can be distributed to particular populations, let's be able to have the production going and not have to wait. And traditionally we've had to wait. So that's how I think we and the larger companies, everyone's working on a very similar pathway, and you'll keep hearing the 18 to 24 months, because I think that's what we've all been challenged and requested to do. Again, for us, it's dependent on the funding that we've submitted to the federal government and all. With receiving that, we can accelerate and move much faster than we're currently doing, because currently we're doing it all on our own nickel, our own balance sheet, and we're a small company, so we have to be very cautious on how we proceed.
There's so much interest in this. David Dodd, thanks very much for sharing your insight with us.
Thank you for your interest and good questions. Thank you.